All right, it's Friday, March 10th, 2023. I'm at the Boy Scout Trailhead in Joshua Tree National Park. I'm doing a 3-day route out here. I was supposed to have a lot better weather than this. It looks actually really crappy. It looks like I'm about to get rained on. But anyway, I'll talk more about the trip as I go. Let's get hiking. This weather looks awful. What am I thinking? So I'm starting off just kind of this cross-country stuff. This out here is the Wonderland of Rocks. I'm actually going to be returning alongside that on the last day of this trip. For now, I'm just kind of walking alongside this big rock formation, just kind of to avoid some road walking. Dead Joshua Tree already. Things are actually massive. They're about the size of a palm tree, but they're actually a type of yucca plant. What a blowdown. Oh, it's cold. I think it's time to put on a wind layer, huh? So there is someone bouldering or climbing up there. That looks fun. So you might see pass right in between these two Joshua trees here. That's the direction I'm heading, out on this Quail Wash Trail, and we're heading up into those mountains way in the distance. So I guess I'm going to be walking in Quail Wash for quite a few miles before I hit like an actual climbing trail up into the mountains. Just walking in the wash. This weather is absolutely weird and unexpected compared to the forecast that I saw going in. So you might be able to see a little bit of snow out there. It snows from about, maybe 2 weeks ago now. Fun fact, that's from the same big kind of regional storm that brought the same snow that you see on a different video of me and Dave hiking up in the Superstitions about 2 weeks before this trip. This is the way I'm going. Climbed out of the wash a little bit. The wash is actually that way, but we're going up this way, I think, I don't know, or maybe to these mountains right here. Not really sure. Clouds finally lifted enough to be able to see this thing. This is the direction I've come from, so it's been just open desert hiking, mostly in a wash. I've actually made really good time. I'm almost 4 miles in already. I've only been hiking like a little over an hour. But let's go check out the Samuelson Rocks. I don't really know what it is. Some old relics over here. Little cute bench. And this is the Samuelson Rock. Huh, what a strange place. I've never seen a metal trail sign like right in the middle of a large wash. Okay. Originally I was gonna head up this Bigfoot trail, but I think instead I'm gonna head up this Samuelson West Trail, a short distance, to kind of get up into the higher country a little bit. Kind of on a little bit of a high spot now. So I'm going to be heading off to the left, and then I'm going to be curving back around, and I'll be going up through what's behind this hill here, up through some kind of small mountains, and eventually once I descend that I'll be camping. Looks like I'm heading up over a small pass. Nice view. The curved arrow. Still those ominous clouds coming in. Might be even snowing up in those mountains. They're not going anywhere near that high up. All right, so I think I crested the high point of this Samuelson West route, so we go back down and connect with the Bigfoot trail. Eventually I want to connect up with the Panorama trail. I'm gonna go up to some kind of high points over some little mountains and camp down in the kind of the next canyon. So the park is really busy with people, and it's a Friday. I'm expecting it'll even be busier tomorrow because it'll be Saturday. However, all the trails I've been on have been pretty basically dead. Seems like hardly anybody comes out on these kind of backcountry trails. It's almost all people taking selfies along the rocks along the road. So it's actually kind of, as long as you don't mind the water situation, it's kind of like an ideal backpacking destination with solitude. Okay, I'm moving faster than I thought. So we're over here. So I just kind of came up Quail Springs. Down that way is that like Samuelson Rock. So we came up this and that little pass with that good view was right here. And then we went down this little connector and now we're here. So the rest of the day is 0.5 miles along Bigfoot, and we're gonna take this Panorama trail, like 3 miles. I'm gonna camp kind of near the end of it. More wash hiking. Always pleasant arrows to guide the way. Wind never lets up today. The forecast, I said, both Friday and Saturday, today and tomorrow, with like 25-mile-an-hour wind and 40-mile-an-hour gusts. So there's gonna be a lot of wind noise on this video. I think this is the Panorama Trail. These are massive. Wow. Yeah, we're getting into some interesting rock stuff. Panorama Trail is pretty cool. I think we're gonna go up this slick rock over here. I'd be enjoying this a lot more if it wasn't so windy. Really pretty though. He's wild. There's that mountain out there that was covered in snow. You can barely even see it. I'm kind of up high, as you can see. And this wind has just been blasting me in the face most of the day. Man, does it ever suck all the energy away from you when you have to hike in this cold and powerful wind. Oh man, I'm supposed to do the high points. It is not, but I actually think that's the canyon down there that I'm gonna be camping in tonight. Right now, I just want to get down off this ridge. This is not very pleasant hiking right now, as you can imagine. Love the colors. Stepped off trail for a sec. To be honest, if it wasn't so windy, I'd probably camp up here because you've got to have a pretty good view. I'm actually heading down into this canyon. I checked the map and I did confirm this is the one. So I'm gonna camp somewhere down there. Hopefully I can find some shelter from this wind. Right. This is my exit canyon. So as I descend this, it's gonna open up a little more. I'm gonna try to find a rocky outcropping to hide my tent behind. Huh. I guess I could just kind of camp anywhere as long as I'm, I forget which it is. It's either 200 feet or 500 feet away from the trail. Actually, it's a little confusing, as the park says you have to camp 500 feet away from any trail. Recreation.gov, where you get your permit now, says 200 feet away from trails. So I'm gonna shoot for the 500 number, just in case. Huh. I want you to go down the wash still. It's okay. I'm in for a bit of adventure. This is actually quite a cool canyon. I'm digging it so far. Okay, let's looking back down at the wash that I descended out of, and I climbed this hill right here. So I'm kind of where I wanted to be for camping purposes. I just need to find like a good spot that has some rocks that I can go hide in away from the wind. Plus, it's starting to rain now. I actually thought about camping up those rocks, but I'm actually going to try to look for something further down. Almost was going to camp at my original site idea, but it started raining pretty bad, and I was like, well, I already got my rain gear on. I didn't bring rain pants for this hike because there was a 0 rain forecast. It was only supposed to be partly cloudy, and this weather's totally just surprise, surprise. So I'll let that be a lesson. Always bring your rain gear. At least if it's gonna be cloudy, just bring it. As usual, my good camera is packed away, so I'm not doing any third-person shots right now. I just thought I'd show you this lovely storm-ridden canyon. I see some flat stuff coming up. I really don't know what to make of it up ahead, and I'm hoping I can camp over there. It's raining a good amount today. My pants are a little wet. Trying to find a campsite right now, so I climbed up high and surveying the land. The area to the right that I just shot is actually where I'm headed tomorrow. But I'm actually seeing some stuff out to the left here that has some promise. Flat looking areas away from the trail and not in the wash, most importantly. Okay, I found a campsite. You should be able to see it right down there. I'm gonna head beeline down this hill over here. I'm off trail right now. I'm just kind of heading over a little ridge, but I'm still not far from the trail. It's really easy to get back to it. And actually cut off about a mile of tomorrow's hike already. So that'll make today a little longer and tomorrow a little shorter. Okay, I think this is acceptable. I'm gonna put my tent over here. Probably need to use those rocks. So this is the basin that the Mary Trail goes through. I don't know the name of this basin. There's a few little Joshua trees around, but I'm not in the most dense part of the Joshua tree forest. Probably more of that tomorrow. And that's the way I'm headed tomorrow, towards the Bigfoot Trail. To make camp in the rain, and then as soon as I set up my tent, the sun started coming out. But I think there's still some storms on the horizon, so they're probably gonna come in around dinner time, because of course that would happen. I covered a lot more miles than I thought I was going to be able to today. I think I hit about 10 miles. Original plan was for 8. I actually got a really late start, like around noon. So I'm surprised I was able to capture all that footage, hike through all that strong wind and rain, and get through this, and still with like an hour, hour and a half of light left. I'm happy that I'm finally camping, as some of today's hike, probably like the second half of it, was kind of miserable in the rain and high wind. Rain I can deal with, but the high winds are just make it almost just unbearable hiking. And I think we're gonna have high wind tomorrow again, but I don't think there's gonna be rain. All right, let's talk about how the water situation works at Joshua Tree, because logistically these hikes can be a little bit challenging for people. See, what's happening here is I've got my two 2-liter bottles. I actually only drank one of those today. I'm probably dehydrated at this point. But I've also got 2 water bags, so I carried an 8. You might think, well, that's almost not enough for a 3-day hike. The Joshua Tree allows you to cache water. So before I started my hike, I was able to place a cache about 3 miles down tomorrow's hike, really close to like a trailhead that we're gonna cross. I've got like about 2.5 gallons stashed in some rocks. And this is all completely allowed by the park. You're allowed to do this as long as you mark it with your name, your permit number, and the days of your hike, and like when you're gonna remove it. And on top of that, I kind of disguised it. I put it in a paper bag with some instructions on it, and I was able to hide it in some rocks. Hopefully it's still there tomorrow. Okay, I'm gonna show you my route on the map real quick. So I have this Joshua Tree Nat Geo map. It's a cool map for planning, probably not the best for navigation. Like so many of these Nat Geo maps, it's kind of got a zoomed out view of the park. So the trails I'm hiking up here are kind of tiny, honestly. But these are always just handy dandy. I just like the styling of them. They're just really pretty, well-made maps. Okay, here's an overview map of Joshua Tree. So the whole trip takes place in kind of this area in the north central part of the park. First I cached water over at this location here. This is called the Creosote Trail. I don't think it's actually named on this map. It's just this tiny little half-mile thing. So just a few hundred feet into it, I have a water cache of 2.5 gallons there. So I started out hiking today at this Boy Scout backcountry trailhead, and I kind of just hiked it kind of cross country for a sec. Just through some rocks there. Those were the first rocks that you saw today. And then we went out on this Quail Springs kind of wash. This Quail Springs historic trail is shown, but what really most people end up hiking, I think, is in the wash itself, which is not shown as an actual trail on here, but there were a heck of a lot of footprints. But anyway, we headed this way. And then what I did is I went out to the Samuelson Rock, which was in here somewhere. And then we went up kind of that West Samuelson Trail. We did kind of a little, almost kind of a half-moon loop through here. And then we went up to the Panorama Trail. This is where the weather got really bad. And I know this looks like a teeny tiny little part of the map, but this had a lot of really epic views going this way. And I actually really enjoyed the hike aside from the weather. It was really, really pretty, and I highly recommend this Panorama Trail. It's not very long, it's not very difficult, there's a little bit of climbing, but it's not bad. And then I'm actually camped over here, really close to where the Bigfoot Trail meets the Panorama Trail. Plan for tomorrow is to hike the Bigfoot Trail and back through here, collect my water cache, and then I'm gonna go cross country real quick, and so we don't have to do this road walking right here. I'm actually gonna get to connect up with the Maze Loop. And I hear this is really, really scenic. Lots of cool, like, slick rock stuff in here. And I'm going to take that through here, connect to this window loop, and take this up. And then I'm probably going to camp somewhere in here where the Northview Trail meets the Pine, whatever, Big Pine Trail. Then hopefully what I'll do is I'll take the Big Pine Trail back to the Boy Scout Trail, which is a super popular trail. That will only be like a really short, like maybe like 6 miles back to the car on day 3. So the mileages for this trip aren't really that long, but it's more just about the scenery and getting immersed in kind of this Joshua Tree forest. This turned out to be actually a pretty good campsite. Without the rocks, we'd be screwed. But the good news is Joshua Tree is just chock full of rocks. It turned out to be a beautiful evening. Again, it seems as though there's about a 40% chance of rain in about an hour. So probably gonna want to make dinner real soon here. I'm probably just gonna eat in my tent, as I often do when bad weather is threatening. Just your standard kind of desert wash. We got lasagna, chana masala, that's Indian food for those who don't know, and the old favorite Cuban coconut black beans and rice. I think I'm feeling Indian food tonight. I want something spicy. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Okay guys, it's about time to call it a night, so I will see you guys tomorrow. I didn't get very much sleep. It was really windy. Morning. I survived one of the biggest windstorms I've ever camped in. Easily 50-mile-an-hour gusts. But it's turned out to be a pretty morning. Yep, staying classy for breakfast. This was highly recommended by a friend. It actually looks a lot more appetizing now with the tuna in it. Somehow I had gone all these years without adding tuna to ramen. And then I brought it up and I was told this is actually really good. It's awesome. It actually just tastes like chicken. It tastes like beef broth with chicken in it with like jalapenos. It's really good actually. It's gonna be a nice day. I think it's still gonna be windy for most of the day. It's really let up for more than a few minutes at a time. Like ever since like yesterday afternoon, it's just been windy pretty much constantly. Last night was really bad. It was probably about 50 miles an hour, maybe 40 mile an hour gusts. Kind of like what's going on right now. But it was way worse. There were times where I looked up at my duplex and I was like, okay, they make sailboats out of this material, this DCF material. So it should hold up to those kind of winds. But you always kind of wonder, as I mean, I've had a tent like literally rip itself apart. Like when I went to Colorado in 2020, I had like a Nemo tent start to rip itself apart from high winds. And it was only the corner of the tent, but you never have anything like that happen more than once before you start to really like consider, all right, like how good is my gear for being in extreme conditions? stuffing this thing today. Normally I roll it up like a good boy, but pretty hard to roll up a tent in this kind of wind. There's our trail. It's like the next 3 miles are going to be spent walking kind of in and out of a wash. Kind of feels like I'm getting boxed in a little bit. Feels more like canyon hiking to me. It's bad, man. Oh, it's so bad. Walking into 30-mile-an-hour winds. This is the kind of stuff I came out here for. These colors. I've started to loop around heading east now. It sure is nice to have a tailwind instead of a headwind. Man, look at all that traffic. Crazy busy. Hardly any hikers seen so far. I had just come across the first other group of backpackers I've seen on this trip. And it was just like two couples going in. Making my way down now. So I kind of crested a little pass to the top of that canyon was. Now I'm kind of on my way down, back to where the road is. Starting to see more day hikers, like an Instagram boyfriend and an Instagram girlfriend. So I'm probably getting pretty close to the road. Down my water cache. Here we are. I decided to do a short cross country, maybe 1,000 feet, to link up with the, I think it's the Maze Trail. So I came out that pass on the left there from the Creosote Trail, and before that, the canyon that we hiked up from Bigfoot was about 1,000 feet down, and so we're kind of up high now above 4,000 feet. Okay, I found the Maze Trail. So, I'm gonna start heading this way. We're gonna walk into the kind of maze of rocks, I guess. Got another one of those atmospheric rivers swarming. I wonder if it's going to storm again tonight. This is our first view into the Maze and Window Rock area. It has a different vibe from what I hiked yesterday. It's It's kind of got that more iconic Joshua Tree look to it, with the rocks and lots of really green, vibrant Joshes today. I want to do window. This is the trail ahead. I'm on the window loop now. And I've just been following along this pretty big kind of outcropping, or it's like a small mountain. It's pretty. It turned out to be a really nice day. My hope is that another atmospheric river doesn't completely move in and cause bad weather again, but can't control that. So, this is looking back the way I came from. Here's that last view zoomed all the way out. So the maze trail kind of goes through there. This is the window loop trail. I'm really digging the colors out here. Really neat, this kind of green Joshua Tree stuff with the orangish red rocks. It's really unique. Here's that big mountain that I've been following along for the better part of the last hour or so. Way out there are some snow-capped mountains. Not the best with my California geography. Maybe Mount San Gorgonio, Mount Baldy, I don't know, something like that. Pretty rugged out here. It's also open, which I love. Me, I'm just trying to take this all in. I didn't think it would be this spectacular, honestly. There's some other national parks that come to mind, but I bring them up too much on my channel. I'm trying not to do that so much. That boulder dead center legit looks like it calved off from the rest of the rock, and it's just barely hanging on there. That's totally gonna fall someday. I didn't know there were so many junipers in this part of the Mojave Desert. It does look a lot like southern Utah to me. Monolith. Hey, look at that. It's like a banana rock. I swear, if you dropped me down here without any prior knowledge, I would think I was in like a Utah canyon. It's the junipers that does it for me. And a slightly reddish rock with a little desert varnish on it. I'll be climbing through all these rocks, I guess. What the heck? Look at all this. She's a stunner. We're gonna be climbing for a while. Probably only 1,000 feet though. What? I'm about to crest a little scenic pass, I guess. All right, we're going straight out that way. Get some choice views of the snowy mountains out there. That ain't nothing but a big old dog rock. Okay, liking this more and more. I think this is why they call it a maze loop. Kind of a rock maze. Unexpected twist and turns. But well marked. What an interesting place. You'd be able to see the trail going down there. That's the way we're going. I guess it's gonna kind of zigzag through those rocks out there because I just saw how the trail actually pops back out this direction. Ultimately, we are heading this direction. This is where I've come from. I'm gonna connect up with the Big Pine Trail and camp somewhere off trail over there. And I'll be hiking the Pine and Boy Scout trails back to the car tomorrow. The views say were unexpected and spectacular. I'm really happy with this hike already. So yeah, I'm ready to camp. Okie dokie. So I'm gonna look for a campsite now. I'm going to head down the Big Pine Trail, short distance, and go off trail where I think there's flat spots. Huh. It's pretty rocky out here. That's the trail. I was thinking of going up to the left. Originally I planned to kind of walk that way off trail to find a campsite, but I think this is actually gonna go up. Let me see if it levels off and I can find a spot easier that way. Huh. Oh, wait a sec. Bingo. There's gonna be camping in there for sure. I've been wandering around for what feels like half an hour trying to find the best campsite, and actually found something that looks like it's been previously used. Pretty sure this means what I think it means. I think we're good for camping for tonight. Well, I was able to make my camp. That old duplex took about 45 minutes to set up today. It usually takes me about 10 or 15. Wind has been just insane. Hoping it dies down a little after dark. I think that's going to be the end of day 2. See you tomorrow. Yep, it's the huge. I am back to the trail. That's looking back the way I camped, about 500 feet up from the trail. This is where I came from yesterday. Just a very short section of the Northview Trail. And this is the way I'm going. Going up the Big Pine Trail to Boy Scout. Only about 6 miles back to the car today. Should be a pretty easy hike. Last night the wind did finally die down, like probably halfway through the night. Woke up at about midnight and realized it was a full moon outside. I could see everything out there without a headlamp, which is always nice. And best of all, it was totally calm. that is the maze of rocks I hiked through yesterday. Seems like I'm cresting a little pass or a rise, and I think most of the rest of the day should be downhill. I think we're gonna have awesome views on both sides of this little pass. Just hiked up all that. Awesome view of the mountains back there. Very craggy. I mean, everything is a crag out here. This is the way the trail's headed. I'm gonna be going out this way. We've hit the Boy Scout Trail. And I'm going to be continuing this way. It's, looks like it's about 3.5 miles to the car from here, not very far. So something people should know before trying to backpack out here along the Boy Scout Trail is there are designated backcountry campsites, and you have to reserve them online at recreation.gov now. No idea what these sites are like. I just want to put that out there because a lot of people try to do these hikes based on the video they see, and they might not know all the regulations national parks are kind of notorious for. Like, I just don't get it. There's campsites out there that have to be reserved, but where I camped last night was more scenic and you don't need reservations for it. So I'm just kind of confused. Some of the people I come across today kind of do like a double take. I don't think a lot of them have seen like a backpacker before, and they're probably not used to seeing somebody backpacking in the desert, especially a place like this where there's just zero water. Fact is, I've only seen one group of backpackers this whole trip. The rest have all been day hikers, and they're all kind of out in their day hiking Sunday best. So I probably look kind of crazy to them with my tattered shirt and unshaven, unkempt. This stuff out here, I guess, is the Wonderland of Rocks, and I guess right through there is Willow Hole, a few miles that way. I guess there's a cross-country route you can do through, I think it's called Rattlesnake Canyon. I actually contemplated doing that when I was planning my trip. I decided against it because it sounded pretty hardcore, and there's a lot of miles to get through that on day one, so decided to stick to the trails on this one. But this is an interesting shot because you have kind of an overview of the area that we went through on day one and part of day two. And then there's a really good shot of the mountains out here. Boom. So popular that people trail run. It's kind of funny to me, but at the same time, I trail run in a national park that's next to my house, so kind of relate to it, except the fact that Joshua Tree is just kind of in the middle of nowhere, so it's kind of surprising me that people come out here to trail run. But I suppose if you're going to trail run, go to pretty places and do it, just like you go for backpacking. All right, I'm cruising down to the car. It's probably about a mile from here. I'm almost back to the trailhead, so I'm gonna go ahead and end this video here. Had an awesome time. The views were spectacular on this trip. There's a few choice national parks and wilderness areas that come to mind when describing this place, but really it kind of just stands on its own. The combo of these really interesting and just kind of strange looking Joshua trees combined with these weird kind of granitic rock features that are all fractured. You've got towering spires, you've got slick rock canyons, you've even got some views of snow-capped mountains. So, yeah, loved it. Definitely be coming back eventually. I would say the only real downside is the crowds and the water. So you gotta cache water if you're gonna come out here for more than about a night, unless you wanna carry a tremendous amount of water weight on your back. But I think it's worth it. So anyway, like if you like, subscribe for more. See you next time.